Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and we got the patch notes for tonight's Epic Quest update featuring the Olympians. And I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a summary spoiler beforehand. It's possible that this is the best update of the year and the characters are not that good. It's actually possible somehow that the characters are not that meta, but it's also the update of the year because of everything else that they're doing. Game mode improvements, character changes, quality of life stuff, etc., etc. It's actually very impressive. So I think there's something to look forward to for everyone in this update, but I know that some people will always find a way to complain. So it is what it is, baby. Anyways, let's dive right in. We have the live stream, sorry, not the live, well, I'll be live streaming tonight. There will be maintenance, remember guys, from 7 p.m. I believe, 6 p.m. Eastern time on to 2 a.m. So there's going to be a big chunk of the day where you won't be able to play because the game will be down for maintenance, and then you'll have to open up the game once the maintenance is done and download the update. If you want to know exactly when that happens, jump over to discord.gg/thenewmeta, our Discord server. There's always goons in there, goons as in like henchmen. There's always henchmen in there, MFF henchmen, who they hate me. They're not my henchmen. They're henchmen of the game. Anyways, there are always henchmen in there posting about, you know, oh, the update's live, downloads live, etc., etc. You know, going on and on and on. So anyways, let's go into what we got here. Hercules looks pretty good. He has auto healing, which is really nice. He has 45% damage reduction, basic damage received. He's got super armor, 45% all defense. He's got a flat 35% chance to penetrate on all of his abilities because it's on his passive. And then his leadership gives HP. Honestly, he also has iframe ignore on his second skill with a barrier. The only downside to his second skill is it doesn't have any other defensive. It just has a barrier. It doesn't have like invincibility. It doesn't have, you know, healing or things like that. But it does have remove active buff. So it's kind of weird because usually we want healing and other things on the iframe ignore skill, but he does have auto healing, so maybe he doesn't need it. We'll have to wait and see. He does have immunity on his fourth skill, and he does have invincibility and a frenzy buff on his fifth skill. I think Hercules has the best chance of being the best character just because he has such high numbers, right? 45% damage reduction, plus the auto healing, plus he's a combat type. Even Wolverine, by the way, doesn't have 45% basic damage received reduction. However, the big thing is none of the Olympians have immortality or revive. So that's kind of the big letdown here, is that these are gods, and yet none of them can revive or become immortal for 7 seconds. So it's gonna be interesting. Will Hercules be able to tank enough damage to be relevant at all in PvP? I don't know. We're gonna have to find out, right? We're gonna have to find out. Hades is the deluxe pack character, so you have to pay the 6,600 crystals for the deluxe pack, or you have to buy the deluxe pack for $40 US. In order to unlock him. He unlocks at 6 stars like all the other deluxe pack characters, and you will need Hades to unlock Zeus. Zeus is the ultimate unlock, like Madeline, like Gladiator, like Molecule Man, Jean Grey, etc. He seems very PvE focused. He has increased flame damage, and he deals flame damage. He's an elemental damage dealer on all his skills, so he has a self-buffing lead basically. Then he has increases flame resist, which will come in handy at tier 4, you'll see soon. And then he has a 10% increased chain hit damage, which is pretty nice. And then the skill damage, bonus damage. And then he also has 20% damage reduction. Now, I have to say his Deathless Death passive is pretty like it's just 20% damage reduction. I think it could be a little bit better for the fact that he's a deluxe pack character, but it's okay. Maybe you could have, like, you know, when HP is under 30%, boom, heal back up to 100%, something like that. He does have burn, he does have fracture on his second skill, he has silence on his third skill, he has snare, and he has paralysis. So he has all of the ABX effects, and he has 2 out of the 3 ABL effects. He's only missing shock. He also has time freezing, which is a pretty rare ability. He has accumulation with invincibility. He has a 30% heal with a 50-50 frenzy buff, and then he has a 50% damage proc on his third skill. The cool thing about Hades, despite the fact that he doesn't have revive or immortality, despite being the ruler of the underworld, the cool thing is that when you use his tier 3 skill, it buffs the damage and the hit count of other skills. It adds hits and it changes the animations. So that is quite cool and quite unique, and does give him a bit of that premium vibe, that premium value that you expect from a deluxe pack character. Then we have Zeus here. He is the ultimate character, so he should be very good. He gives every ally 60% lightning damage, all allies, for his leadership. So it's a self-buffing lead because he deals the lightning damage. And then he gets super armor, 30% all defense, 35-30 skill damage bonus damage, only 20% damage reduction, which is very low for PvP. He does have 10% chain hit and 5% additional pierce, which is nice. He also does have iframe ignore on his 4th skill with a 70% chance to penetrate, 5 seconds of invincibility. This is quite nice, but he doesn't have healing on this skill. And that's a little bit suspicious because he doesn't have auto healing. He does have accumulation on his 3rd skill, so he could hit very, very hard. But his heal is actually on his 1st skill. Now, the heal being on his 1st skill is a little bit weird, but it's good in a sense because his 1st skill has such a low cooldown. So every 4.5 seconds, he can heal for 30%. The problem is, because he doesn't have iframe ignore on every skill, or he doesn't have iframe ignore on his 1st skill, in PvP, even though he can cast Thunderbolt Punch every 4.5 seconds, if the enemy is constantly in iframe, he's just going to stand there waiting to do his 4th skill, which is a good skill, Zeus's Wrath, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have the heal. So this is why we often ask the devs, if they're going to give a character only one iframe ignore skill and they expect the character to be good for PvP and the character has no other healing, then the heal should be on the iframe ignore skill. So I think what they just need to do is they need to add iframe ignore to his 1st skill so he can consistently get that 1st skill off in addition to the 4th skill to pop that 30% heal. It's very unusual to see a 30% heal on a 1st skill. It's actually pretty interesting. I like that. I like the switch up, especially for things like zombie survival. But yeah, it's going to be questionably good for PvP. So already we see that 2 out of the 3 characters have kind of questionable buffs. Questionable design. We'll have to see how they play in game, but I'm already seeing some yellow flags, some yellow lights. Then we have Athena. Athena is a premium character that you can also get as a striker in the epic quest. So she's kind of like a victorious, or yeah, is it victorious? This kind of thing, Colossus, this kind of thing from those epic quests. Her leadership is basic defense. Her passives is guaranteed crit rate, so it seems like she's more PvE oriented. She's also a support. So she gives all allies, doesn't matter who it is, increased damage to supervillains by 45% and 25% basic attack. So very good support. Definitely replaces any of those supports that were just a flat 40 or 45% villain damage because she also adds the 25% attack. And then for herself, she does have shock, she does have silence, she does have paralysis, and she does have burn. No, she doesn't have burn. So she's missing burn and snare if you wanted to use her for ABX ABL. She has a barrier here. She has a 20% heal with a 55% frenzy buff. She has a double proc, but it's only 50%. But her 4th skill is really cool and unique because you can tap it and use it up to 5 times, like Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk's 4th skill. So that's quite nice, and it's only a 10-second cooldown. It's a very short cooldown. And then her 5th skill, if you guys didn't see it in game, it looks crazy. So she has really, really nice animations and kind of a unique playstyle. So that does feel pretty cool. And then for Aphrodite, aka Venus, she's completely free. You can craft her bios. You can get her in bio selectors. You can also get her through the epic quest. She has a leadership that cleanses the Olympus allies when they're debuffed. So this is kind of PvP support. And then she also gives Olympus allies increased damage to supervillains and decreased damage received from supervillains. So it's possible that you can craft a Olympus PvP team for timeline battle, maybe for Otherworld Battle, or sorry, not Otherworld Battle, TBA, Team Battle Arena. But you're just going to have to dodge Sentry and Wolverine because all of their buffs are against villains. So you're going to want to use this to counter villain teams, not to counter hero teams. She has a 30% damage reduction, which is better than Zeus, which is crazy to say. She also gets invisibility when she's hit, like Sue Storm. She has a barrier. She has burn, snare, paralysis, and shock and silence. So again, she's only missing... actually, she has all 6, I believe. Yeah, she has all 6 effects. Right? She has shock. Oh, no, she doesn't have fracture. She's missing fracture. My bad. She's missing fracture. And I think maybe somebody else that I mentioned before is missing fracture as well. She does have accumulation, which is nice. She has a 6-second invincibility with mind damage buffs, and then she's a 30% heal. So she seems pretty good. Overall, I would say the characters look pretty good on paper, but I am a little bit suspicious of the performance of Zeus and Hades. And I think that's pretty unacceptable because those are the most expensive characters. That's the deluxe pack character, and that's the ultimate character. So maybe the devs are going to have to do something there, you know. I don't know, man. I really feel like at least one of them should have had immortality or revive. Then we get Hercules tier 3 skill. Looks pretty cool. Has pretty cool stats. There's really nothing much to say about his tier 3 skill. His tier 4 skill is okay. It increases his attack, and it ignores damage over his max HP plus 12%. Yeah, it's kind of whatever. Could be better. Could be worse. Then we have Pluto, a.k.a. Hades tier 3 skill. Looks very cool and will be interesting because it enhances his normal skills within range, which is what we talked about, increasing the hit count and the animation on some of his skills, especially his third skill. And then his tier 4 seems pretty lame, but then you remember that he has a bunch of fire resistance or flame resistance. So it increases all resistance by 80% for 10 seconds, and then it also increases his flame damage by 50% of his flame resistance. So he scales up his resistances to all elements, and then he also scales his damage that way. So this is good for PvE, but it also can be used potentially to counter specific PvP targets like Mephisto. Particularly because Hades has so much flame resistance, he may be just like an auto win against Mephisto despite not having revive like Mephisto. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's possible that he is designed that way, particularly because he still has, I believe he still has the Olympus tag. Let me just go back and check really quickly. He does have the Olympus tag, so even though he's a villain, he will benefit from the supports from characters like Aphrodite, who increase his damage to supervillains. So maybe like Aphrodite plus Hades plus somebody else would just easy clap Mephisto or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, we have Zeus's tier 3. Looks pretty cool. Zeus doesn't have tier 4, but they promised us they essentially said, they didn't promise, but they essentially said that he would be getting his tier 4 in the mid-month. So I think that will be enough time as well for players to test him at tier 3 and see if he needs some buffs and needs some immortality or revive or something like that. But his tier 3 does look really, really cool as far as the animation goes. We have Athena and Aphrodite's awakening skill. It's just whatever, it's them attacking. We have the epic quest itself. You unlock Hercules at native tier 2. So he's not a native tier 3. He's not a native tier 4. He's a native tier 2. And then you unlock Zeus through the other ones. The additional characters on top of Hades, Athena, Venus, or Aphrodite, and Hercules are Modok, Cho, and Ares. Modok and Amadeus Cho are very easy farmable characters. The only one that's kind of difficult to obtain is Ares. He's a striker from the Dark Sentry Epic Quest, so you're going to have to grind that out a little bit and then probably use rank up tickets, but he's not a premium character. You don't have to spend crystals to get him, so it shouldn't be too bad there. The deluxe pack itself is going to cost 6,600 crystals. Remember, the other Epic Quest deluxe packs are going to go down in price, I believe, by 1,100 or something like that. So that's very, very good. So just keep that in mind. And probably if you have a bunch of deluxe packs to unlock, maybe wait before you choose this one because we just don't know how strong, Hades is right now. There's also the collections you can get from the new Epic Quest. So you can get 100 Godstones, you can get a Tier 2 Mega Advancement ticket, and you can get a P card as well as 50 Bios of Athena. So that's really nice, especially the P card. And then we have the new content. So this is one of the reasons why I think this update will be the best update of the year, even if the characters are not good. I do think Hercules is going to be very meta, for sure. I'm not sure about everybody else, but the reason why I still think this update could be absolutely bonkers is because of this new content. So we have a new Alliance Battle game mode called Infinite Challenge, or called the Relay Battle. And so they've separated Alliance Battle now into two different game modes. The boss battle is the one that we're used to, where you're fighting the Frost Beast, or you're fighting Surtur in Alliance Battle Extreme and Alliance Battle Legend. And that will now only run from Monday to Friday. So it's a really, really interesting change. They're not just adding new content, but they're changing the way that we engage with the content. And this is really important because it prevents burnout, right? Hardcore ABX, ABL players have been grinding day in, day out with the same kind of content for years. Now, they're still going to have to grind day in, day out, but 5 days a week instead of 7. And then on Saturday and Sunday, you can only play the Infinite Challenge mode. And the Infinite Challenge mode, although it is still grindy in the sense that you want to get the high score because it still applies to your ABX, ABL scores, is a completely different game model. In the new game mode, you're not going to be fighting against Surtur and the Frost Beast. You're going to be fighting against bosses, world boss legends like Null, You can see here Gore, Mephisto, etc. And basically, it's a 4-minute fight, and you are rewarded. You're rewarded by dodging the attacks. Dodging the enraged boss's powerful attacks will temporarily weaken the boss. So there's this sort of balance between dealing damage, but also dodging and being aware of your surroundings in the game, which is obviously different from ABX ABL, which is basically just like an arcade mode where you're not really worried about what the boss is doing. You're just worried about your positioning to grab the energy. You're worried about canceling at specific times. This one is a little bit different because you physically have to dodge mechanics in order to increase your score. And you actually do want to dodge because dodging is going to give you bonus time at the end. And bonus time will basically allow you to rack up your score faster. So it's pretty interesting there. They're trying to make it a different experience. It's pretty clear by the way they've worded it. They're trying to make it a different experience so it feels materially different to play and possibly uses different characters that are good for it compared to ABX ABL. You also have a boss in Rage Bar that if it fills up, they will do like some mega giga attacks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It also has its own set of rewards, and these rewards are pretty nice. You have like the standard stuff at the low levels, but then you have Power of Demiurge, you have comic cards with a chance for P cards, you have the collection tokens, you have tier 4 material chests, Godstones, etc. So you have some pretty nice stuff there. And then again, you still have all the ABX ABL rewards from Monday to Friday. Additionally, there's so many changes. Additionally, they've changed the restrictions. So the restrictions on ABX and ABL are changing, and it's going from a 2-week cycle, a 14-day cycle, to a 28-day cycle. I'm not going to go through all of the changes here because we're going to have to make separate videos on all of them, highlighting all of the new characters, but they're basically massively expanding the list of characters that you're going to need to use for ABX ABL, which is amazing because it gives you so many more characters to work on and to look forward to. And it also means that future updates, we can look forward to more characters because there's a much greater chance that those characters will be useful because they'll fall under the restrictions, the requirements for specific days. So for example, we have Blast Female Human. This is a brand new tag we've never seen before. We have the reintroduction of Male Mutant. That's coming back as well. We have things like Universal Human. That's a new one as well. We have Supervillain Mutant, also a new one there. We have, I mean, this could feature old characters like Magneto, but it's a new tag, right? We have Supervillain Human. We have Inhuman. We have, a bunch. Speed Male Hero. Combat Hero Human. So really, really good stuff by the devs. I gotta give them hats off to them. Kudos to them. This is exactly what we've been asking for. And this should make ABX ABL a lot more interesting, a lot more varied, and it won't just be Luna Snow dominating half of the days because she's actually only available. She's available for 1 day here, which is kind of crazy. Or sorry, 2 days. She's available for 2 days on this page, besides the days that have no restriction, obviously. And then over here, she's available for 1 day. Yeah. That's a pretty stark change. So should be quite interesting there. Yeah, very, very excited for the ABX ABL and the new Infinite Challenge content. Really excited for that. And then there's some stuff about, I don't know, this is kind of whatever. They messed up. They already messed something up. Basically, the Future Pass doesn't add enough points for the Infinite Challenge content. So they're just temporarily giving you more points when you do certain content for the Future Pass so that it makes up for it. That's fine. They're also introducing a pity system for brilliant CTPs. So this is absolutely amazing. Whenever you reforge for a brilliant CTP, for every additional CTP that you add, it will add 1 to the counter. And this is across your account for any CTP reforging that you do. So it's not tied to the specific CTP. And it will basically, when it fills up, it guarantees a brilliant. So this is really, really good. You still have your 7% up to 21% chance during an event to craft a brilliant. But if you miss, you can only miss a maximum of 10 times. Once you miss 10 times, the 11th craft is guaranteed to hit, which is amazing. You don't know how many players are, jumping up and down for joy for this. I know it seems like a lot of crafts still for some of you out there, but believe me, there are players that have gone 20 times without hitting the craft. So this would be essentially 2 extra brilliance for them. By the way, this is the reason why Godzillinator quit all those years ago. I know this is a long time coming, but yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So again, kudos to the devs for doing this. I think this is absolutely fantastic. We also have new comic cards. We have 5 new comic cards related to the Fantastic Four. We have a new premium card with all attack, all defense cooldown as the fixed options. And then it has a brand new ability, like a buff that activates when attacking, and it increases your instinct attack by 20%. So it'll be very interesting to see if this is useful enough, if this is strong enough for specific content. Perhaps it's going to be applicable to the new Infinite Challenge game mode. Maybe it's good enough for PvP, and I have to start chasing this card. I'm a little bit skeptical about its value for PvP because the proc overrides the max HP, so you can't get max HP on the card. And then the 5-star bonus option is not very good. I guess you would just go for crit rate, or maybe ignore defense if you need it. Or maybe, I guess, maybe crowd control time. I don't know. And then the 6-star bonus option, I guess you would go for physical defense or crit damage. It does interestingly have all resist 6%, which is a stat we've never seen before on a card. But it's not really good enough to use for any content. So, yeah, I don't know if this card will... I don't think this card will be good enough for PvP. But it basically hinges on this activation buff. If this activation buff is really OP, then yes. If not, then no. And then we have 4 regular Fantastic Four cards that are non-P cards. There's also the collection bonus, which is 3 plus 3% energy attack increase. So that will obviously be useful for your account. But otherwise, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We have the new artifacts, which are kind of disappointing, I have to say. I did expect at least one character to have immortality or revive. Hercules has the increased damage to heroes and villains like Jean and Gore and Kang. Hades has ignore dodge and basic attack increase, which is terrible. Zeus has ignore dodge and basic damage to supervillains, which is okay. Yeah, Athena has increased damage dealt to enemies with 50% HP or higher, which is whatever. And then Aphrodite has ignore dodge and basic attack, which is exactly the same as Hades. I really encourage the devs to be a little bit more creative. Why are you giving a deluxe pack Hades? Why are you giving a deluxe pack character, Hades, the same artifact effect as a free-to-play character? Think about the optics on that. Forget the balancing. Just think about the optics. What are you communicating to players? That the deluxe pack character is not very valuable because you're giving him such a shitty artifact. I genuinely think they should just change his artifact. They should just change it. It should have like damage reduction or something. It should have like the Black Swan passive that Dakin and X23 have on their artifacts. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just kind of embarrassing in that sense. We have the new Future Pass. We have the new icons. Everybody's going to love the top one, of course. You also have this one, which I believe is for Scarlet Witch. And believe it or not, Scarlet Witch is getting a pretty massive buff in this update. So stay tuned for that. We have the new hot deals. And then we have the improvements. So there's this World Boss Striker function. I don't know what the hell this is. They're going to be changing the number of entries for Timeline Battle and Team Battle Arena. They already signaled this a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, they're going to be changing it from 10 entries a day to 5 entries a day. They are going to be multiplying the rewards by 2. So that's really good. We don't have to worry about any of those things getting lost in the shuffle. They are going to be increasing the gauge rate for Elite Gear Limit Break successes. The Ultra success is the same. It fills it completely. But the level limit, the regular gauge, if you don't hit the Ultra success, the increase for the success and super success are going to go up from level 81 onwards. So basically what this means, long story short, Elite Gear upgrading is going to become easier. So this is really, really good because, yeah, Elite Gear is kind of a pain in the ass and it's really expensive. And then this might be the craziest out of left field change. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are no longer going to be other. They are changing their allies permanently to human. This is crazy. Their instinct is going to remain as order, so they're going to be the only human characters who have order as their instinct rather than justice, which is interesting. But what's more interesting is they are now humans, which means it opens up the door for them to compete in a bunch of World Boss Legend stages, as well as a bunch of ABX, ABL days and restrictions. Absolutely massive stonks. Massive stock increase for Scarlet Witch. If Scarlet Witch wasn't meta in your eyes before, She absolutely is now. They're also reducing the number of zombies that appear in zombie survival to ease the difficulty. So they are adjusting the difficulty of zombie survival, making it a little bit easier. They are also, there's so many changes, bro. They're also finally fixing the appearance of Emma Frost's uniform. I know they fixed the leg thing, but now they're going to fix the thing on her leg that clips through, the little like garter belt thing. And then this bug was not very well known in the community, but essentially some players found it and made videos about it. I didn't want to do so because I'm lazy. Sorry. But basically, when Thanos comes in Thanos World Boss Legend and he kills, when King Thanos comes in and kills the regular Thanos, and then the fight gets more difficult, one of the reasons why it got more difficult is because the King Thanos was missing the boss typing. So because the King Thanos didn't have the boss typing, all of the buffs that you had, that you brought in from CTPs or from characters that were increasing damage to boss types or ignoring boss damage decrease, those were not applying because King Thanos did not have the boss tag internally in the game. So what this means is basically King Thanos, the Thanos World Boss Legend Plus, is going to get substantially easier because you're going to be able to blow through King Thanos now if you are using any kind of increased damage to boss type buffs or have any on a CTP. So yeah, absolutely massive patch notes. Took me almost 30 minutes and I skipped a bunch of stuff. This is incredible. I gotta say, we did have to wait 3 weeks for this, but I gotta say they cooked really hard. The ABX ABL changes alone are worth their own update. So I'm really, really happy, and I'm really proud of the MFF team for putting all this work in. Thank you guys. 10 years strong in this game. Can't wait to throw down the credit card and start swiping. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button for the content, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you tonight, actually. Take care.